Greetings, fellow citizens of White Pine Bay. Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And welcome to Talking Mrs. Bates, the show where we check in to the Bates Motel.
But we don't always check out.
All right, BlueDragonFive, how you doing?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So, Dragon, tonight we are going to be talking about a monumental episode here. We are talking about the third episode of the season, Dragon. The third episode of this particular season. It's called The Bags in the River. And it's about what happens when the two characters have a third antagonistic character chained up in the basement.
Tiki, wrong show.
Yeah, but it is the third episode, so I got that right.
Yeah.
I actually just realized that I was saying it. Oh my god, it is the third episode both times.
Yep.
So yeah, folks, I'm just gonna keep this handy, all right? Because this episode is basically like the mirror image of the Breaking Bad episode, "The Bags in the River," like ridiculously so. So Dragon, let's get right into it. Any pre-ramble stuff you want to go over, or do you want to just jump right into the recap?
Let's jump right into it. I'll start.
Okay, hold on. Previously, Bates Motel. All right, what do we got?
Well, just very briefly recap last episode, just where we left off because it feeds in directly to this episode. Caleb was knocked out as he discovered Norma's body, and the first thing uttered by when she arrived was
why does everyone immediately jump to "I died"?
That's kind of her initial. No, we're kidding. Of course it's Norman dressed as mother telling Chick Hogan, who's also there. Well, Chick, now you know. I'm alive.
Oh yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. So we open the episode. Oh boy. So Caleb, he comes to directly following that bit. Or maybe a little bit of time's passed because now the body's been moved and basically the rocking chair is now available. So Caleb comes to in the basement, handcuffed and a giant head wound. That I love the ambiguity of this head wound here. Like, he's kind of messing with his perspective a little bit at the same time. His sanity. We do get to see the episode from Caleb's point of view, which is him losing his mind throughout this episode, which is one of my favorite elements of it, which I kind of called.
Wouldn't it be, I'm sorry, I don't mean to make this many references right off the bat, but wouldn't it be funny if they just went the extra mile and just had him chained up with a bike lock?
Yeah, that would be great.
Anyways.
So seriously, this scene, I'm going to play it for you in a second here, so how great this plays, but I was so not caught off guard, I was like so enamored by how beautifully this was shot. And again, this feeds into what we've been doing this season a lot, is that, as you'll see behind my colleague's raised shoulder, the angelic Norma, the angelic Norma.
We spent a lot of time getting that prop just right.
Of course, angelic Norma, like just the imagery in this episode, there's tons of angelic Norma all over the place. I love how she's shadowed, and like it's like we've appreciated this, especially at like the end of season 4, but how we don't show Vera Farmiga, so it's like very, again, you can assume that it gets Norman dressed as his mother during these scenes in certain places. Like the ambiguity of like, okay, who is it necessarily we're seeing?
Mm.
So we see
this is also the first like full scene in the whole series that we see Norman in full-on mother mode. You know what I mean? We have that little sting at the end, but this is the first full scene that we're getting that.
Absolutely, first fullest Norma we've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
So again, beautifully shadowed mother in the rocking chair opens the episode. I mean, oh my god, that's a beautiful image. And then basically we hear this scene transpire. And like, of course, I had to edit some of this down along with the rest of the episode. Basically, kind of cut some spaces.
I'm sure you have the sassy bit. I hope you have the sassy.
So, just take my word for it. There's so many points in this episode, so many great stuff. I had to kind of take away some like kind of spaces between reactions. So it's kind of prerequisite for all the clips. So anyway, so here we go. So Caleb comes to, we see this kind of this shadowed angelic Norma in the rocking chair, and again, it's kind of we kind of do a fun play. Well, who is it exactly, Norma or Norman? Go a little something like this.
Hello, Caleb. How are you feeling?
sorry. Gee, all better. Everything's right as right now. Why did you come here, Kelly? You came here because... Tell me, come on. You had a baby. A baby. Her name's Catherine. Granddaughter. I wish I could see her. Well, it was nice of you to come and tell me to try and help. So, you want me to go now, Norman? And honestly, I won't bother you again. I can't let you go. You know something you're not supposed to know. You know I know that. So we need to figure out what to do with you.
Wow, really good, perfect opening for the episode, I gotta tell you.
Two quick things with that. One, again, Highmore continues to out Formiga with the whole like, oh gee, that makes everything all better.
This is gonna be this is gonna sound silly, but I'll bring it up anyway. I was just kind of, it's like a little thing that was just kind of caught me while I was watching the episode. Just for, as we've always said, you know, Highmore, of course, he does Perkins better than Perkins. In this case, he does Formiga better than Formiga. And just to show you how good a job he's doing, there's this shot where basically she's pacing around the mother's pacing around the high heels, and I gotta tell you, Highmore's got the legs for it.
Right?
Yeah. It's ridiculous. He's that good an actor. He can. It's, again, he looks. Again, he has looks the appearance of women's legs.
Yeah. And also, Drag, really quick, we're going to talk a lot in this episode about how well Chick manages Norma, but I got to say, Caleb is a little bit underrated in that regard. I think he catches on very quickly, and I think the move to mention the granddaughter was a really smart thing to do on his end. You know what I mean? It might not have panned out for him, but it was a good, like, heat-of-the-moment move.
So yeah, like a lot of really good stuff to cover in this scene. Again, while he's drifting into kind of this emotionally driven hallucinations, you know, Caleb, as you said, he does realize it's Norman, and he's playing along so he can hopefully escape, and most likely try to kill him when he escapes. Again, at this juncture, again, we do go through a wonderful kind of arc with Caleb this episode. We kind of see at various points where his head's in. That's gonna be something for us to speculate at as the episode goes forward, like what headspace he's in. For sure. At this point, I figure he wants to escape so we can kill him. At the very beginning here, he's still driven to do that. Let's see. So yeah, as you mentioned, he tells Norma about the baby, which is so wonderful that he. It's so dark a payoff because we had that scene in the first episode. Oh, Norma Louise must be over the moon, and well, she is over the. She is over, not over the moon enough to release it, but over the moon like a granddaughter.
Oh God, it's so creepy.
I know, but again, it's so kind of sweet and there's so much sweet and twisted in this episode. I love it. And of course, can't let Caleb go because he's a very again. What I love about this opening too, this cements kind of the Breaking Bad vibe of like, okay, where someone is trapped in a situation where they have to die or else the whole thing crumbles.
Exactly, man. It is absolutely. Hey, Dragon. Instead of saying that show, can we just, like, whenever we want to refer to the show that shall not be named, can we just say that episode? Like, the bag in the river is just that episode.
I guess.
All right.
As long, again, the minute we mention the name, then we have to. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know, but let's just refer to it as that episode to save as many pennies as we can. So, you're right, so it is very similar to that episode.
Yep. So what do we do about Caleb? Mm-hmm. That's kind of the big question on the episode, and that gives us such a wonderful. Again, I think that that is like we always talk about good cold opens. That's an excellent cold open for an episode. This episode is very box-like in nature. I know we go outside of the box a little bit here and there, but it's so distinctly box-like.
Mm. Okay. So
following the Bates Motel logo.
Yeah, Mr. Hogan enters the picture. When Chick Hogan was introduced in season 3, did we ever think that he'd be this integral to the show?
No.
It's crazy, right?
Season 4 you did, but season 3, no idea.
I mean, towards the end of season 4, like the very end of season 4, but yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Tell me what you thought about this, because every time I rewatch, I don't know what to think about this. So Caleb, sorry, not Caleb. Sorry, I'm screwing up things. Anyways, Chick has this phone. Now, again, as we're tracking Caleb's arc here of like what his mindset is through the episode now, Chick at the very beginning of this, I'm not sure if he has the whole thing figured out, because with his phone, do you think he's recording or he's contemplating calling for help?
I would definitely guess recording. I mean, I think Chick is like all about that. I think he was already all in on that, like, because we saw at the bar, you know what I mean? When he found out that Caleb just found out, he was more intrigued than anything else. So I think Chick is already in writer mode at this point.
Because the only thing that makes me not think that is because later on he's a straightforward tape recorder. So,
well, I mean, maybe he just figures that like he needs to get the tape recorder, you know what I mean? To upgrade, just like how he bought the typewriter.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I mean, it's fine. It makes sense because you're right, because we did have the writer thing set up last time. I'm just saying it's something maybe to kind of take note of. Okay, anyway, so then we have this excellent scene again. Of course, this is just of course, this does not count as a blackout for this episode because, again, it's a blackout from last episode carrying over into this one, just for the record later on. So Norma, in this case, Norma is thanking Chick for his kindness to Norman, but question his motivations. Goes a little something like this. Goes a little. There we go.
You've been very kind to Norman, Chick, and I've appreciated that. You're looking out on him, you're helping him. Bringing him animals, food, you've been a really good friend. But why?
I enjoy helping people.
Can you keep this secret about me? Can I trust you, Chick?
Trust is the foundation and the bedrock of every relationship. You can trust me, Norma.
I'm kind of glad you know, actually. It's been a real pain in the ass having to hide every time we came over.
You can only imagine. It's like now you don't have to do that anymore.
I just love that she basically doesn't have to do the Alf thing anymore. She doesn't have to hide every time.
Right. I do like how, when Chick says, I can only imagine, he is very much empathizing with Norman's point of view. You know what I mean? It's like, I can only imagine, like, you've got two personalities in your mind, and holy crap, that would just be a nightmare to have to hide one of them. So I like how Chick is being empathetic. That's like the enigma of Chick this season, I think, is like he is genuinely empathetic, but he's also obviously got an ulterior self-serving motive with all this. So
yeah. Again, a part of me thinks the way it broke down is that Chick, at the end of season 4, Chick came over again genuinely because he had fondness for Norma, to check in on Norma. The minute he saw the body, I'm figuring that the real question is if he came off it in that moment or after that moment. Because in that moment, think about it, Chick that says he'll check in on him in a few days. Now, you got to wonder if the gears are turning that early. And I like to think that the idea came later, as after he visited him one time.
I'd like to think he kind of like stewed on it, like seeing the body kind of like, probably seeing the body was just like, okay, I better make sure that this guy doesn't just snap, you know what I mean? And that's why he was checking in on him. Yeah. But I would say like, after like maybe a couple visits or so, he genuinely just got like, okay, this is a story. Like this is,
Let's speculate on the possible motivations a little later on. But let's just say again,
sure.
But again, do you smell Emmy in the air, folks? No, that's Highmore. Again, it's Highmore's kind of personal.
I was about to say, it's like, look, if we can't get Highmore for me get nominated for Emmys, as much as I love Chick Hogan, I don't think it's in the cards.
No, I'm speaking to Highmore though. Oh my god, again, they just got robbed of the Emmy last year. I'm just saying this year he honestly, what they should do is to make up for it, give them both an Emmy for both actor and actress.
yeah, right.
Just to make up for it.
Okay.
Anyway, so let's see. So following that scene, yes, we have Romero. Thanks for this one.
Yeah, this is like the one part of the episode that isn't in the bottle that you mentioned.
Yeah.
But yeah, Romero is being transferred, and of course, Dragon, I think it's a great strategy on Romero's part to be really chummy with the male driver that's driving him to the other prison.
Yeah, with Doug and Alicia, they're the guards transporting, and again, it makes sense because again, they all know he's on a trumped up perjury charge, and we wonderfully set this up with the warden that okay, people on the other side of the fence, so to speak. They they like Romero. It's like, oh yeah, it's like everyone in law enforcement still likes Romero. It's like,
and
oh,
I love
he
this
was
episode too because it just like we've been so afraid of Romero, but this episode just goes to show that like Romero's whole arc this episode, I kind of feel like is him like being the nice guy to everyone but the target that he's after. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you know what I read it as, Tiki. Interestingly, I read it as he's becoming more like Norman.
Like he's good at faking being a nice guy.
I'm saying like there is a certain point we're going to get to where he kind of realizes he's becoming a monster.
Okay.
But going forward, like just with the elements we're talking about here, is like again, he's being such a nice guy. He has like a duality about him where he's going to have this sort of stone cold serious kill with him, but he's also able to be personable, to be such a nice guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a little bit more genuine than Norman is about that, but
I'm just saying now, what we've seen Romero is just so driven and so focused on Norman. Now it's an act. Like before, it would be like an actual thing. I think now it's just kind of bringing back the old kind of.
I don't know. I mean, when we talk about Jim specifically, is that his name? Jim, the guy that he
Jim Blackwell.
Car from. Yeah, I think he was genuinely.
Oh, no,
like, really...
Jason was Jason. I thought you meant the guy killed.
Jason.
That was.
Jason.
Yeah.
I mean, look,
Jason.
I'm skipping ahead here, but I don't know. I think this episode presented a little bit more humanity in Romero than I think you're kind of.
Well, no, I'm not saying he. I'm saying he is afraid that he's becoming. I think he realizes the actions are making him a monster.
Right. Okay. Anyways.
Yeah, he's not. I'm just saying he's starting to act like Norman. He's starting to become like Norman. It's scaring him.
All right. So, point being, Romero's being transferred, and he is being very, very pleasant with the driver. Very pleasant indeed.
Yes. Okay. So then we have this scene. Oh my God! Yeah. As much as I do kid about, let's give Highmore the Emmy for actor and actress. Let's give the actress to Farmiga because again, she's so wonderful. Again, of course, Norma in Norman's mind, of course, but still the wonderful, the wonderful motherly. Cutesy Norma Bates we all know and love. Goes a little something like this when she greets her beloved son.
This could totally be like a season 1 Norma moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but also it's kind of a callback to season 4, and we'll get there in a second. Goes a little something like this.
Good morning, sweetheart. How you feeling? Oh, it's so good. My job tonight. You're okay now. Almost. Me too. I shouldn't have followed you to that restaurant. It was stupid. You were right. It's just feel like you go a bit crazy here all night all the time. I'm sure it's hard on you too. It's just so much stress ever since.
I don't even really remember when it was, Mother.
You know what? Just stay in bed. We don't have to be anywhere today, so I'll bring up some food in a little bit. Everything's gonna be perfect. Oh, by the way, stay out of the basement.
Why shouldn't I go in the basement?
Because I've been organizing down there, and you're gonna start pushing things around, and I'm gonna get in the way. Just stay here, stay in bed, rest up. You need it.
Okay.
So yeah, it's definitely the recollections of season 1 Norm of like what.
I mean, the stay out of the basement thing specifically, like just little like white lies that Norma would tell Norman. You know what I mean?
And of course, the brilliance of this is the fact that again, now here's what's kind of scary about it. We've had Norman keeping secrets from himself as represented by Norman. Now we're having the twisted flip side, which again I think is a foreshadow for kind of the direction of the season, the scary runner of the seasons that Norman's going to be taking more and more control. So now he's hiding secrets from himself.
Right.
It's not the dominant person. Basically, Norman's slowly becoming the more dominant personality.
And of course, we saw that very eerily foreshadowed in the bar scene last week, where it was just like, oh, I think I need to start cutting my hours.
They are building to an excellent point if we keep building this up, especially in that promo we saw for the season. Just the season at least up to most likely episode 7.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see. So following, also I was referencing with season 4 is that scene, just the whole like stay in bed, reminds me so much of this scene from, that opened. Well, it was early in season. Actually, I think it was the second episode of season 4, maybe the third. Oh no, I can't recall. Sorry, something like this.
Stay in, play some cards, watch movies, maybe you'll be fun.
Oh
It's
man.
the day of fun with Norma. Remember that one? You were just saying, "Oh, come on, Norman. You
Play
say
some
it's
cards, watch a movie, you know,
Bake
hide
a
a
cake.
body, get rid of a car.
I just love her mention. Let's bake a cake. I just love baking
Oh,
with
God.
Norma. I love that idea. I take it. I would watch that show. Let's bake with Norma.
Or just like a full, just standalone, like Bates Motel. Like, just put a Bates Motel hour-long special on Netflix that's just Norma and Norman baking a cake and nothing else. Just like Norma and Norman being really just sickly cute with each other and baking a cake. Or no. Oh, I'm sorry. Just go on. Just indulge me for a minute, Dragon. Just indulge me. So they're also recording it on like a shitty like camcorder, right? So they're doing it as like, Norman, let's make our own cooking show.
Let's make cookies, and we intercut it with footage of me killing Bradley Martin.
But you know what I'm getting at,
Especially
right?
when I crack the eggs.
All
Yeah.
right.
So before we speak of more foods, unfortunately, transition isn't going to work that wonderfully. But let me point this out. I got to point this out because I noticed, especially on the rewatch, I suspected this, and I was confirmed on the rewatch that there's this really cool bit that. So Norma entered, and it was all through in his mind.
I know what you're going to bring up, but go ahead.
Would you like to do it?
No, go ahead. I know what you're going to say, but go ahead.
So as Norma exits the scene, of course, she closes the door. But then I love this. We pan away from the door. We're focused on Norman, and we saw Norma close this door. No, wait, no.
We saw a chick. We saw Norma. Norma left the door open.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Norma, the door was open, and when Norma left, the door was still open. We cut away, and then we hear the door open. And then it's Chick. Basically, we see it closed, then open by Chick Hogan. So the point is, the door was then closed as we heard it open.
Dragon, forget about Breaking Bad. That was a straight up Mr. Robot move right there. Just like messing with the view's perception. You know what I mean?
I know. How cool was that? Again, I love the little clues like that. That's amazing. Again, that is very kind of robot-esque. I'll give you that. So anyways, speaking of which, Chick enters the room, and again, it's so funny that Norma says she'll make breakfast, which I presume means that Norman would have got it from bed and made his own breakfast and brought it himself. That's what I assume. But thankfully, Chick Hogan is kind of stopped that from that because he is also he comes bearing.
Brought you some food.
Which most likely would be equate to him.
You like boar jerky?
That's a lovely question.
How did I know that was coming? I was like, oh god, it's Chick Hogan and food. Anyway.
Yep. So Chick Hogan claims that basically, obviously Norman, he's not he's friendly with Chick, but at the same time, why is Chick Hogan in my room?
Right, he's just like, Chick, what are you doing here?
And Chick claims that he helped Norman post blackout, get up and put him in the bed.
Mm-hmm.
Because Norman, he admits, he blacked out, which he did. Of course, he went full Norma last episode, and basically he equates to being drunk, blackout drunk. So,
yeah, sure, likely story, Norman.
Well, again, it's again like it's stemming from some truth. We don't know how much he drank. I'm not saying again, probably didn't help the blackout. He was already in the process.
Probably not. You're right.
Hey, which I'm just going to throw this out there. Maybe that was why he stayed in it longer than he would have. Maybe.
Perhaps.
Just throwing that out there. Anyway, so Chick, that's his rationale. That's his kind of his cover story of why he's there, and then importantly, Chick's again like a good writer. He's inquiring about certain things. He inquires like, "Do you black out often? Do you remember anything about the blackout?" And he's getting no, and of course, basically, I had a fun theory, but I know it's going to be wrong. But wouldn't it be awesome if Chick Hogan turned out to be Carlton Cuse?
Oh, no.
It's not going to be, and I know why. Here's the thing: I can't tell you because I don't want to spoil it, but I know why it's not going to be.
Hey, Carrie, previously on Bates Motel. I'm trying to do Carlton Cuse mixed with Chick Hogan. Anyways, go ahead.
Basically, I know why that's not the case, but seriously, I did consider that for a moment. Oh my god, what if they style? Because Carlton Cuse has glasses and he's just kind of a gray kind of.
And he's clean shaven, and Chick Hogan has like the long beard, so that
I'm saying, what if we
his
checked
face is
in?
different.
Basically, what if we checked in at the very end and he actually was shaved the beard off?
Oh my god!
I'm saying, what if they like the most meta?
Aaron and him are just having lunch, like, Carrie, I just got done with this Lost show, and it was a big hit, and I think we could, go in a different direction.
Basically, what if they like took it to a publisher or someone, or like Robert Bloch?
I love it. That's like a Lego movie style ending, right?
No. But seriously, I am still calling that Chick Hogan's going to turn the Robert Bloch. So he's going to use a pen name or something. Robert Bloch.
I would not be surprised in the least if there's at least a reference to that. Yeah.
Anyway, so again, I know the Carlton Cuse thing is going to happen. Nice thing.
If it did, man, that would be amazing. But
I think you are going to. I was spoiled in one very minor thing, which I think you're really going to like. But I'm not going to tell you.
Okay.
Anyway, so let's see. Claims. Sorry, I already went through that. So again, Chick. Basically, at this point, talk about Chick. Chick, of course, he is an observer to the madness, as he says with this wonderful sideshow line. It goes a little something like this when he basically tells Norman that he knows and it's okay, and then we get the sideshow line. It goes a little something like this.
Norman, it's okay. I'm not here to judge you. Not for any.
Thank you, Jake.
No thanks necessary. We're all in this sideshow together. Then we die. Better just rest up for today. Eat some food. I'll be back for the train.
So again, what's so great about that too is that it has like a meta context to it of like with that line that's we're all in this sideshow together and until we die. That's a very meta line of that. This is the last season. Anything can happen, and like all of us from the chopping block kind of said in.
Exactly right.
And also, I had the cut out at the beginning there. But again, there's this really nice bit where Norman's like he's freaking out from like, oh, I never should have let you in the house, and he says, Norman, it's okay. Again, he had that weird empathetic strike, kind of empathetic balance with Chick Hogan, where hey, he does sound like a part of him likes this kid, part of him does like Norman. At the same time, he may be either capitalized. Well, he's capitalizing on. The question is like for what reasons, but you know what I mean.
And what's interesting is that I never even really put this together until now. But by the way, first of all, like, where the hell is Dr. Edwards?
Well, why would he go back to Pineview? He didn't like it there.
Yeah, I know, but like, why isn't Edwards at least like checking up on him?
That's fair, but I don't know. It might be like because he's out of the place. I don't know.
I guess. Anyways, but remember how Dr. Edwards was like legitimately charmed by the mother side of Norman? Mm-hmm. And think about this, like Chick Hogan legitimately like knew and admired Norma Bates. So I think on some level, Chick Hogan has got to be, he's got to be a little bit charmed by Norma as well. You know what I mean? I mean, it's odd, but Chick Hogan's an odd guy himself, so he gets very, you know what I mean there though?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Let me mention this though, just continuing off kind of the Chick Hogan in relation to the two personalities, is that interestingly, especially on the rewatch, Norman and Norma both need Chick. So think about it. One's neglected, the other needs needs a tie to the outside world. Norman needing a tie to the outside world. Of course, Norma feeling neglected. So Chick Hogan is an important factor to both of them. So it's really interesting to well, not only just someone outside the world to relate to, someone he can trust to also deal with all this craziness going on the side there. So again, like Chick Hogan serves the needs of both personalities, and they're both relieved. And I'm sorry, both of them how they're relieved and how they both take the Chick Hogan, how they both accept his help, and how they both accept him. And the scenes mirror each other, and that it makes me wonder if one personality liking Chick Hogan and accepting Chick Hogan is a transfer from the other personality. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Because Norma trusted Chick, maybe that's why Norman trusted Chick.
It's so meta. It's so meta, man.
You see what I mean, right?
Yeah, I see what you mean.
But at the same time, they both would need they both wouldn't eat Chick Hogan for their own reasons, not even for the same reason, but maybe that's why they were both kind of won over on Chick instead of going opposite ways.
Right.
Anyways, I just thought it was really interesting. Also, I really like the fact that Chick, I noticed this clearly on the rewatch. I completely forgot. This is awesome. Chick Hogan has like this Swiss Army knife thing. Basically, has like a spoon built into it. He gives that to Norman.
Oh God!
It's like, again, you're spending like a switchblade, so no, it's a spoon. He gives it to him.
Right.
And then it's so small. He gives him that, and he like pats him on the leg. I'll get the tray later. So chummy with him. I like it.
Very, very pleasant. Very pleasant dragon.
All right, so take us through the next scene.
You would almost. I'm sorry. This is like a totally obligatory. You would almost wager that Chick Hogan could be Dylan's butler when Dylan turns into young Bruce Wayne. I'm sorry. I had to get at least one young Bruce Wayne in there because Dylan's MIA. So.
Yep. Yep. The origin of Alfred.
But seriously, we even get like a mention of Butler with Chick Hogan this episode, so it's not that far off. Okay, so all right, so back to Romero. They stop
Romero,
and not the Romero from Mr. Robot. They stop at the gas station. The transport stops at a gas station, and I love this that Romero and the other cop, I forget his name.
Doug.
Okay.
Yeah, Doug.
Okay, thank you. Romero and Doug are just like chatting it up like they're old war buddies. You know what I mean? And it's like, part of you, like, what do you think? Do you think it's just Romero is just like getting this guy into a false sense of security, or do you think he's just genuinely, false sense of security?
I'm telling you, what I'm convinced by, and especially when we get to the Jason scene later on, which we're starting in this scene, is that. I think Romero, he's just after like a year and a half of stewing on it, he's all business, he's all dedicated to killing Norman. And while he is tapping into something he was like doing left and right beforehand, that's why he can tap. I don't think he means that. I think he's just using it as a tool in this case.
Okay, cool. So basically what you're saying is that like this scene is more him in Norman mode, and then when we get to Jason, it's kind of him realizing that he is in Norman mode. Okay, that's
absolutely Tiki. That's absolutely what I'm saying. I'm saying he's starting to realize how kind of twisted it's becoming. He's becoming kind of like Norman with like bouncing personalities almost.
Sure. Oh God, now I'm just like picturing like Romero, and then like.
Well, remember that thing I showed you? Remember Nestor Carbonelli saying like, "Hey, you remember he's reading for Norman Bates? I look exactly like," which he does look a lot like Anthony Perkins.
He does. You're right. But it's like Romero, and then like off to the side, it's like Richard Alpert from Lost, and then off to another side, it's Mayor of Gotham City.
And Tiki, you want me to make it more meta for you?
Sure. Why not?
Remember, we've been speculating this since, I want to say since season 2, honestly, is that, again, Romero has a lot in common with Norman in the grand scheme. He's got a connection to his mother, as we saw in season 3, but also, again, it's intimate. We never got confirmation of this. He had a lot of sympathy, and he actually liked Norman quite a great deal in season 2, because, he wanted to help him out. And it suggested that Romero may have been violated by a teacher as well.
That's true. I completely forgot about
We've been building this. We've been building all these interesting layers to Norman and Romero all throughout.
Which is why it's perfect that, like, for all intents and purposes, Romero is going to be like the final big boss of the series.
Like, again, Tiki, just how poetic is it? The only person the two people going up against each other, most likely in the last one, is going to be the two people who have the closest connection to Norman, with of course Dylan in the middle of it all.
Right.
I think that's going to be awesome. I just love, again, Romero was the big bad of the whole time.
All right.
So, anyway, yes, right. So, yeah, Romero, he's in the bathroom.
Yeah, he goes for a bathroom break, and I love the timing on this, Dragon. I love how...
Very well directed.
Yeah, I love how this is shot, where basically, like, there's one guy in the bathroom when they get in, and then as soon as Romero steps up to the urinal...
He looks in the mirror.
Well, I mean, first of all, there's that great bit where Romero's just like, "Hey, you gonna help me out, or you want me to hold it for you?" Ensuing the guy to take off the handcuffs. Funny guy.
Yeah.
But then he steps up to the urinal, and I love how, you're right, this is all framed in the mirror. We see the one guy who's already in the bathroom walk out. We see another guy walk in, And then we see Romero just meticulously taking his time, like taking his time at the urinal, walking over to the, to the sink as slow as he can, and just meticulously like waiting for the second guy to leave. And then as soon as that door closes, as the second guy leaves, it's like, okay, time for badass Romero mode.
And again, what I love about it too is like he's scoping the room out by looking in the mirror. He's also seeing like, where the guy's gun is. He's scoping out the room while he's taking his time there. Of course, basically he takes him down and he says, "Surprise!" No, it doesn't say that.
Well played.
Yeah, Doug is just like completely spellbound as he said, like, "Surprise!" And he's not.
Wouldn't that be great if that was like Romero's catchphrase?
I think as far as I'm concerned, it is his catchphrase, but
God, anyways.
I sure like it. Okay, no, but in all seriousness, though. So again, what happens with as Romero? He overpowers Doug. He takes his gun. He uncuffs himself.
And of course, Doug. He's just like, hey, just give me the gun. We'll pretend this doesn't happen.
I love that bit. That is such a wonderful pleasantry. Like he knows Romero's in a bad spot. He's willing to give him like that chance. I love Tiki. I love those moments. It's like, honestly, these are kind of those Jim Gordon moments I would like. Honestly, I know you're. I'm not just mentioning for mentioning it. I'm just saying like those are the moments I love.
I'm gonna count that, by the way.
Seriously, I just love those moments where you had the smart cop in the room offering, like, playing all the cards of like, hey, look, we don't have to escalate this any further if you stop this right now, and actually meaning it,
Totally.
I love that. We don't get enough of that. Anyway, so again, Doug's still out of luck. And then
I don't know. You're putting me on the spot here.
Okay, fine. Romero. Importantly, he grabbed. There was a touch I really love here. Is that on his way out while he sees Alyssa, she's getting the coffee.
Right.
Which I love. This is so funny too on the rewinds. Oh my god, she's just stuck in this incredibly long line. That's why Romero gets away. That's the only reason Romero gets away, because she's stuck in this incredibly long line.
Exactly. Because he probably, in all intents and purposes, would have had to knock her out too if that line wasn't so long.
Yep. But anyway, so I love this bit there where he goes to the car, and he doesn't have to do this, but I like that he grabs his wedding band. Yeah, that's his wedding band. He wanted to grab that. Anyways, and then he runs into Jason, which goes a little something like what?
One of the quick things, Dragon, of course, the wedding band, of course, his connection to Norma, like we already mentioned. But he runs into Jason, and he's just like, hey, buddy, can I get a ride? And I put in my note, he threatens him with a gun, but nicely.
And again, this is like the turning on a Don Claude I'm talking about. Again, until Romero realized that, again, he's acting kind of like someone, someone like a serial killer. Yeah, very much like a Ted Bundy.
I do very much like that, as he's pulling away, as he gets in the car, Jim's pulling away. Or I'm sorry, I keep saying Jim.
Wrong show, Tiki. Wrong show.
I know.
Believe me, your heart's in the right place, but wrong show.
No, just wrong background character associated with Romero, whose name starts with a J.
Well, I was thinking of a different character, but you know me. So
okay. But anyways, so I like how Jason is just, you can tell right away as soon as Romero asks his name that Jason's terrified. It's like, I think at this moment he's kind of starting to switch. He's like, okay, Jason, everything's going to be fine. Just follow my lead here. So.
I know, I love that. That was such a great quote. Again, that's showing you Romero hasn't quite lost his way, but he's in perspective. That's when he's going to start questioning things.
But wouldn't you agree with me though that, like I said, as soon as he asks the name, and then Jason he's like very scared. It's like, Jason. I say that was kind of like the turning point for him, and then like Romero's kind of like stewing on it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're right, but at the same time, at this point, like he knows he's not going to kill the guy. He's just threatening him. He's supposed to promise him, like, okay, hey, look, you're going to be fine. Just take the road. Yeah, I don't think he's quite realizing it yet, but I think he's still. He hasn't fully lost himself yet. I don't know.
All right, Dragon, should we get into probably the most divisive scene of the episode that we have between the two of us based on our little pre-ramble?
Yeah, that would be this scene. So, oh boy. All right. Okay, so we have a flashback.
Yep.
A little flashback. Goes a little something like this. Basically, we have a flashback to young, very young, and younger before like all the bad stuff happened. Well, still bad stuff's going on, but not the really bad stuff. Caleb and Norma, we saw a little bit of this beforehand too. We saw a little bit of this. I can't remember when, but I know we saw like young Caleb and Norma kind of really.
I want to say that was like way back in season 2.
No, not.
You don't think so?
No, because Norman had that, and it was like during the bad years. That's when Norman imagined. Then we had the two of them in a different season when they had that moment.
Okay.
I think it was season 3 when it must have been 3 because Caleb wasn't in 4, but same anyway.
Oh, that's true. Caleb wasn't in 4 at all. I forget that.
Well, he had a married call. He called Dylan.
Right. Sure. Anyway,
so the point is, again, we kind of call back this familiar image of the two of them in a horrible situation where, the parents are arguing about really, rational stuff and everything is being really, again, crazy and angry together. It's essentially what the marriage was, is crazy lady and angry dad. Kind of the reoccurring joke of Bates Motel. Just kind of
just crazy lady and and reassuring, just reassuring.
Violent yelly father, crazy lady.
right.
So the point is, so again, these two kids, like, they're really, basically we call back the idea, they really confide, and basically this built why their relationship kind of took to the next level. They were locked in with each other constantly. They could only find comfort in each other, and that's where kind of that's why they became so close that they would,
Sure. Oh boy.
Years later, and goes a little something like this. And this, to me, I think this line, we'll get into our disagreement in a second.
Yay, I can chastise child actors. My favorite thing to do.
Yeah, you kicked that child, so you can take pride in it. So, seriously, we have this. I think this moment's really nice where we have a.
Look, the moment is fine, Dragon. It's the acting that I have a problem with.
Anyway, it goes a little something like this. I'll talk about how good it is afterwards. Again, I think that line
is so... You really don't have a problem with that lisp? You really don't have a problem with that lisp?
Well, I was actually going to talk about the writing before I got
together, nothing bad will ever happen to us. You really don't have a problem with that, performance-wise, Dragon.
I'm sorry, are you a cute little girl?
No.
Last time I checked,
I mean, obviously not.
So that's why it doesn't work when you provide an example like that. It just sounds like Ralph Bakshi on a bad day.
Okay, but look. Have we ever heard Vera Farmiga talk with even a slight lisp?
No, but they're trying to cement the cuteness in an early age.
No, I don't care. If she has a
lisp.
Oh my God.
I want to say she's missing some teeth, which would explain a lisp.
That would explain it, but at the same time, it's... Dragon, I think lisp acting is like the cheapest thing to do with a child. It's like, okay, just talk in a funny voice. You know what I mean?
You don't really see the lisp thing that often these days, to be fair.
Yeah, that often. That's because it's an antique method of acting that shouldn't be used at all. All right. Anyway, the lisp, it's antique as hell.
Well, what it boils down to is I don't mind it, but importantly, what I like about this scene, plot and writing wise, is I love how wonderfully sad the line is, and that the whole, like, as long as we're together, nothing bad, because this whole episode's about the two of these two characters being together and Caleb being without his other half, essentially.
Right. No,
in many ways, Caleb
it's a fine moment. It's just that one lispy line delivery is what gets me. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but
anyway, so like I was saying with Caleb here, again, what's so great, it kind of dawned on me, is that Caleb, in a way, is Norman when Norman wakes up out of his delusion.
Yeah, true.
Basically, someone who's lost his other half, who is just completely devoid of hope, and that's going to be basically what we see.
Yeah.
Basically, we're getting a little glimpse of what Norman's going to be if he ever realizes, puts two and two together.
Right.
So let's see. Thing is, I think the line's it's worded so tragically too. As long as we're together, nothing bad will happen. Which, of course, is an ironic line given what happens.
I will admit, writing-wise, that is, when you think about it in context, sure.
Because when they're together, horrible stuff happens, but it's coming from this innocent place deep down.
Of course.
Anyway, so then this flashback is done through a dream, and then Caleb comes to, still chained to a pipe. And
not the first time that'll happen this episode, not the last time.
And Caleb is greeted by his old pal Chick Hogan.
Oh God.
Old His old, I'm thinking freakishly, my old good friend Roddy McStew, my old good friend Chick Hogan. Which, let's talk about the scene before the play line. So basically, Caleb, of course, he's asking, hey, you and I, we got through our beef, the whole thing about beating you, and my sister died, we're all cool on that front. So let me go, man, let me go. Chick Hogan then says this wonderful kind of omniscient line here.
I don't feel that I have the authority to act in that manner.
Oh yeah.
You and Norman, what happens to you now? It's up to Norman. I'm just an observer.
I just love that line. So it was so great and so meta. Again, he's the writer now. He's like, I'm just watching.
Which is totally like, that's absolutely Chick's role in this whole thing. If you narrow it down to one word, it would be observer.
Absolutely.
So
let's see. So then also it's established that Chick is the reason that Caleb has bathroom breaks, by the way. Because remember, he's kept down here for 2 days.
right.
Which, by the way, on the rewatch has a really dark meaning later on, which we'll get to when I come to it. The fact that he's in there for 2 days is a kind of a dark callback.
Ooh. Okay, now I'm interested.
Anyway, let's see. So again, so basically, Chick's kind of guarding him while Norman doesn't know that Chick's going down there. Norman doesn't know that Caleb's down. I just want to reemphasize that Norman knows.
Right,
Norman. Again,
right, exactly. That's kind of like one of the things in the episode that when we get to Norman actually finding out, you're like, oh yeah, he doesn't know, does he?
Nope. All right, let's see. So, all right, thanks for the set up the next one.
Okay, so let's see.
Romero,
right. So, so Romero leaves Jason off, and then Jason, of course, as soon as he gets out of the car, he's just pleading with Romero. He's like, look, I have
sounds
a
a
family.
little something like this.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I won't tell anyone I saw you. I won't give them a description or anything. I swear. I have a family. A wife. 2 kids. A mother. Please, I don't want to die. Jason, I'm not going to kill you. Nothing's going to happen. I need to put some distance between you and me before the police find you. So just walk down this road and you'll get to Howard Buck in a couple hours and you can flag somebody down when you get there. Okay?
So that line's kind of a twofold thing, because on one level, basically, again, as the setup is that Jason's very terrified in this moment, despite Romero's reassurance. Which, honestly, I don't. We do this a lot, where people are still distrustful after hearing that. But at the same time, I think Romero seemed very genuine. I would have bought into it, honestly. But it's kind of a twofold thing here, where one, it's at the how scared this man is. It's dawning on Romero that, oh my God, I'm becoming I'm becoming like a serial killer. I'm becoming something I'm not. Again, potentially becoming more and more like Norman. It's just kind of he's starting to become aware of like how horrific his action, basically the level he has to stoop to kill Norman. The other way of potentially interpreting is that Romero, again, he's unhappy with the situation. At the same time, as he tells the guy, he looks at him, he's still scared after he reassures him. No, look, I told you, we need to put distance between us. The guy just kind of still looks at him all scared. Says, Romero's ticked off, like, just walk down that way. Right. Regardless, again,
it's kind of like an inverse of the whole like cliche, like, getting rid of the dog by like treating them badly. Like, get out of here. I don't want you anymore.
Which we definitely see later on.
Oh yeah.
but yeah, so you see, and you understand I'm kind of getting at with the whole like Romero thing, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So just moving forward then.
Yep. Okay, so let's see. So Chick, he comes down for just a little chat with Caleb. Just a nice, pleasant little conversation with no ulterior motives whatsoever.
Recorder.
Yep.
Well, at least it's not a bug on his car.
Right. Oh, yeah. God.
All right. So Chick's going down there. He's talking, and at the same time, this is again, we keep tracking these two characters, seeing kind of where their headspace is at right now. So I'm thinking, Because again, at this point, of course, Caleb realized, Norman's insane. You gotta let me out of here. So again, whether I still think he still intends on killing Norman once he's released, but at that juncture, in the earlier, now on the Chick side of things, right now, I still think Chick's motivated by he's fixated on the Bateses because he knew Norma. And a part of him would still like to know about Norma, but at the same time, he needs to know all the details for the book. But he wants to know her in general. He wants to know what she was like for his own benefit. He wants to know the details of their life.
It's kind of like a two-sided thing, right? It's like he wouldn't be writing the book if he wasn't interested in Norma to begin with. So, yeah, for sure.
And it is kind of, again, it's a lot of dark yet heartfelt things in this episode. The fact that Norma's interaction with Chick Hogan is still protecting Norman after her death, so it's kind of nice in a way.
Right.
And so basically, Chick Hogan kind of summarizes what he's doing right here.
I unexpectedly found myself caught up in your family's drama. Is that the word? And I don't know anything about you. So I'm settling. Norma, I liked her very much, Kim. I didn't even know her. Coming out some details. Because I lost her too.
So we learn Caleb then, he informs Chick of a few of these events, which basically it boils down what the mother and father did. Again, they argued a lot. The mother was crazy. Now here's where the 2-day thing comes back, Tiki. So the mother locked the two of them in their rooms locked them in various places, but also their room for 2 days of that food, water, bathroom.
Oh, right. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
So the fact that Caleb is kind of locked in a space without Norma for 2 days is again kind of
it might not even be something that Caleb like consciously realizes, but maybe on a subconscious level he's picking up on it.
Yeah, exactly. Especially normal in the brain. Yeah, because remember he was dreaming that for maybe a reason, maybe for that reason. Just days are going by and locked away in a space. Again, just the point is he's locked away in a location against his will is bringing back that.
Yeah, no, I like that. I wouldn't have put the two together like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and let me try and think of any of the other things. So, again, mother would lock him in the room for days. Again, just really a lot of cruel treatment there. And again, they found comfort in each other. Kind of the stuff we've hit upon before. I like this detail that the minute it skews, like again, Caleb's all about remembering the good times. So the minute the rape is kind of is brought up, because it did eventually equate to that. And again, it's so interesting. I'm gonna get into this a little bit later. Is that the fact that in a way, Caleb is receiving his penance for raping Norma.
Oh, totally.
This episode, in a way. But again, we've had this twisted sense of sympathy for Caleb at the same time, though. So it's really a lot of mixed emotions.
Mm.
So then, oh my God, then Caleb he kind of breaks down here in this scene where he then remembers the good stuff about Norma. He's remembering how she was, and it goes a little something like this. And it's really heartbreaking. Wonderful acting here.
She would look at somebody so hard that you would think that they were gonna burst flames. Oh my God, I hope you should not feel like that. So it's okay. Because I know. She was somewhere.
Again, it's so. It is really tragic, what Caleb's going through here. Is basically kind of stewing on his loss after he freshly learned about it in the last episode.
Totally.
Of course, I think the Norma he's describing kind of reminds us of kind of these happier days with Norma.
Someone downstairs making jam. I'm making that too.
So happier days. Again, I think that was still the pinnacle of happy Norma we ever reached, just when Bobby Darin's playing. That's still like that's kind of the top of the heap of like happy Norma, like top of the peak. That's when she kind of peaked of happiness.
Right.
Anyway, so our next scene. So again, I love this box episode format. So then just where we get the next scene. Well, Chick's going upstairs.
Is that the next scene?
Sorry, no, it's not the next scene. Next scene is Romero.
Yeah, we get a quick thing with Romero.
Right,
I'll take you through that really quick.
Yes.
He has car trouble. His car breaks down. At first he's trying to start it up, but he quickly abandons it. Drag, I love the shot where he pushes the car, or the truck, I should say, into the woods, and just the car just kind of like rolls down the hill, just into that thick foliage. You know what I mean? And what I love about that shot is that I feel like that shot is very reminiscent of, the classic like Norman Bates pulling the car into the lake.
Which again may be kind of connecting some parallels there.
Totally. And
also now I wonder if this is going to be explored in the upcoming episode of like this car that passes by. I wonder if that car is supposed to be anything.
A car passed by? I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, he hides behind the tree, remember?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he does. Yeah, right. I don't necessarily think that's going to equate to anything, but I do think that maybe the car that he stashes in the forest might come back at some point.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Right. So then Chick, he breaks a photo.
Spring cleaning there.
Now, tell me this, Tia. Tell me what you think. Do you think it was accidental, or do you think it was just to lure Norman there?
I mean, if I had to guess, I'd probably say accidental, but I don't know.
No, because again, it's kind of also you keep questioning Chick's motivations, man. It's interesting.
Yeah, sure.
So then this funny scene happens.
Oh God.
Just tidying up by accident. I bumped into it. I can replace it.
Well, no wonder. Try wearing a little less clothing next time. Lose the kimono. Maybe it won't pull down the walls.
Don't be rude. I'm sorry, Chick. I like your kimono.
Okay. Not the first time I've been given shit about the kimono. But look, since we're all here, I made us some food. I'll sit down and have a nice dinner and talk. What do you say?
And here's kind of the unfortunately, I can't really give the credits due here, but I love how we immediately jump to the next scene after that. Like a one beat goes by, and then we just cut to Norma's mind.
Yes, I agree.
So I want to make that clear because I wasn't able to give that justice. But seriously, this next scene, of course, is the showpiece scene of the episode. At least it was definitely in the promo.
This scene, it's just like it's back to the good old like, oh, Chick.
Yeah. What's great about this is that it's. Again, this is Chick. I think a part of Chick is scared because he's in a really precarious situation. He's kind of a part of him. I think is afraid of what Norman's going to do.
Oh yeah, sure.
But at the same time, I love that mix of there's a little bit of fear, but mostly it's like Chick flying by the seat of his pants here. And in the promo, I was wondering. It occurred to me after the promo going into this episode when this scene came up, like, yeah, how are they going to approach this? Because we have like the promo end zone of like. Didn't you hear? I was wondering, oh my God, what's Chick's response here? And it occurred to me, like, wait a minute, yeah, what if he doesn't hear everything Norma says? What's he going to do? And we see this episode. Flies by the seat of his pants and comes up with a clever excuse. And the excuse in this episode I thought was brilliant. Like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. Yes. A little deafening this year from the beatings. Goes a little something like this, singing itself. Oh, Emmy folks, smell it.
This is good, Chick.
Oh, it is. Where'd you learn to cook? Taiwan.
You like some more naan bread?
Yes, please.
If I may, I could be of service to both of you. I get
Oh, jeez.
I love how Chick he is flying by the seat of his pants, but he's doing such a good job of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Again, Chick Hoger's smarter than the average bear, folks. He really is.
Like it's like the most impressive "Whose Line Is It Anyways" performance ever. You know, he's just like so good at the improv. He'd make Wayne Brady blush.
Two things I want to highlight. One, again, I love the fact that Norma was about to respond, and then
Sure.
Which makes you wonder if that's just like Norman's way of like so he can say it instead of Norma saying it, perhaps.
And I just want to quickly point out, just every time that Norma is on screen with another character besides Norman, she just has such this exaggerated quality to her. You know what I mean? Like in the way that she's lit, in just the whole performance of her from Formiga.
You gotta remember,
it's all a little bit otherworldly.
Because again, this is kind of a medium of what Norman and Norma wants. Because again, it's like Norman getting a bit of the outside world, at the same time Norma gets a playmate. We've finally come to the place where it's, come on, Chick, roll around the dirt with me.
Oh God, right.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like Norma's finally got her little playmate.
Oh, by the way, I should probably yeah.
just occurred to me.
Right.
But you see what I'm saying, though? It's like Norma has like his little playmate. At the same time, it's not a woman, so again, it's not bugging the crap out of her. It's like not a woman's going to fight for Norman's attention. It's Chick Hogan. Like, yeah, I know that guy. Yeah. And again, here's kind of the twisted thing of it all. By the way, the fact that Norma, it's less that Norma likes Chick. It's the fact that Norman's appreciation of Chick appreciating Norma, along with kind of the year and a half they've known each other, is the reason why this Norma likes Chick. It's so twisted, right?
Oh yeah.
And the last thing I'll say is that again, fun parallel of what happened with the real Norma is again, a broken window is what brings Chick and Norma together again.
Sure, yeah, very.
It was all a broken window, and now we're repairing a broken window yet again. They're old buddies yet again. Okay.
All right. And then, you know, probably the best nice girl of all time enters the picture, Dragon.
Yes. Ooh, there's my girl.
Oh, God.
Oh, I tell you, I'm still head over heels for Madeline Loomis. Oh, what a lovely girl. It's gonna be so sad when she actually dies. I'm gonna be so bummed out. I really hope they're not gonna do a twist. Now, I'm rooting for this, but at the same time, I'm not rooting for it because I don't want her to die. But I know she has to die. That's what I'm saying. Because I'm saying, part of me wishes like I'm gonna be really peeved like if Marion's alive and this girl's dead. You know, just.
Oh no! Oh God!
I'm gonna be peeved because at the same time,
you kind of suggested that in spec last week, so.
At the same time, I think
Marion, of course, is going to come in, and she's going to be just as bad as we all thought she would be. And,
can I just point out how hilarious it is that after all these seasons we've been there, usually, with the exception maybe of the first season, there's been that one character that we just rubs us the wrong way, and there's that one kind of like the weak link of the season.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It was Rebecca last season, for sure.
Of course, it was the deputy in season 2. And season 3, it was, I'm trying to, I like James Finnegan. I'm talking about the, some people didn't like it was Christine, right? That was
I thought Christine was season 2, not season 3.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Some people didn't like James Finnegan or Bob Paris. I'm trying to think who.
I thought Bob Paris was the weakest of our Bates Motel villains.
I liked Bob Paris a lot. I liked.
I know you did, but I was never really feeling him all that much.
Oh, he's really good
in season 3.
He's really good in Lethal Weapon, by the way. The guy played Bob Paris. Anyway, but you're right. The mainly again, basically, our two historic weak links would be Rebecca and the sheriff's deputy. Anyway, so I'm just saying that was
rough.
The fact that we've endured those characters, and now we're at a point where we're just dreading the introduction of this one. Yeah, Marion might not be all that. We're worrisome of it. We haven't seen any. You see what I mean? We have no reassuring evidence.
No, we have not, because all the clips that we've seen of her have just been like, no, well, that doesn't give me confidence in her acting ability.
Yeah, exactly. But again, to be fair, it's not really anything to judge.
No, but it's still just like, oh, so you live here alone? You know,
that's it. So again, it's like not enough to judge one way or the other, but the same thing. I get like a bad feeling in the pit of my stomach that we're not going to like marry.
Sure.
So regardless, it's like at the same time, like, oh my god, Madeline deserves the shower death, but at the same time, it's like again,
it's
not
rough,
if that
right?
means because again, Madeline deserves the finest of everything. She deserves the best finery, Tiki. She really does.
I hear you.
Anyway, so speaking of this lovely girl, let's talk about the scene she's in. So she walks up. Oh, so lovely.
Let's try to get through this as fast as we can because there's a lot to break down here.
Okay, Madeline walks up. She bumps into Chick Hogan, who is repairing the outside again, very studious manner. Chick Hogan. He mentions he's fixing. He greets her, says, "Who are you?" He says, "Oh, Madeline, I'm here to see Norman." Oh, I like this. He's going to check with Norman. This is like something any secretary would do in a way of like, "Hey, I'm not only a secretary but a butler too."
I gotta get my practice in for when Dylan. I mean, technically, Dylan is an orphan now. You know what I mean? I actually just realized that right now.
Well,
like technically, both of his birth parents are dead at this point.
Within a 2% chance.
I'm just gonna do it. But.
Within a 2% chance.
Don't even start.
Anyway, my point is so then Norman comes to the door. And I like the fact Chick was supposed he was going to check with Norman before, like he said, hey, he was probably going to warn him, hey, someone's here for you.
And
then we have this moment, which is lovely. It goes a little something like this.
Oh God.
So I can see that. You don't need an announcer, Chick. You're not the butler. It's good to see you. I actually just saw you coming up the stairs. Oh, this is Chick. He's just helping me doing jobs, fixing the window.
I'm sorry if this is the bad time. I just came by and brought some cookie. Chocolate chip.
So, why don't we just head on down to the office? Sure.
Oh boy.
Now
it brings.
I'm sorry, just let me say, like, we've beaten that whole boar jerky thing into the ground, and it's like the writers are like, oh, here's another really funny, really quirky Chick Hogan food moment. You're welcome.
And again, Teague, I love the cookies have been they've been seeded. We've seen the cookies in the first episode. The Madeline cookies are Madeline's specialty.
That's true. That's true.
She home makes cookies. We have plot-driven cookies.
Oh man!
Not only are they plot cookies,
and not the ones that track your internet data.
No. These are plot cookies. They're the best kind of cookie.
Oh God.
So speaking of plot cookies, you know what else these plot cookies are, Tiki? They're a fine example of.
Oh God, that was so well timed.
Thanks, Nick Ford.
Nick Ford's just like nodding silently in the background.
And of course, so we have this running gag of just James Franco always across. These two have a regular. They have a regular thing where they just keep dining. I think they just meet up every Friday for lunch or something. They like to catch up with each other. Just like have their pie and have the pizza. Have their.
Now, what James Franco would be doing hanging out with Nick Ford, I have no idea. But I mean, it doesn't really seem like those two would like have the most in common, Who
do you think taught him to appreciate the finer things like pie? Nick Ford was a college professor of James Franco's. That's how he knows him.
Okay. This fanfic that we're creating here with like Nick Ford and Harry Osborn is like more convoluted than the actual season at this point.
Okay, anyway, so they take the conversation down to
half the people listening to this don't even remember who the hell Nick Ford is at this point.
To be fair, we haven't mentioned him so much that I think they should know at this point.
All right. Anyway,
we have mentioned at least half of our videos. We have.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, if anyone's just like randomly searching for a Bates Motel podcast to listen to, and then like these two lunatics are just keep bringing up Nick Ford over and over again, like I don't even remember Nick Ford.
if we were dishonest or clever, one of the two, we would have Nick Ford in the tags on every video to see what, the ones that Nick Ford has mentioned in a video, so people check out more of the content.
Which would be all of them. I mean, let's be honest.
Anyway, so the point is, we take this conversation down to the motel, and we start off a little like this.
Oh, God.
Your mother cookies are delicious.
Well, I kind of had to do something after making her that awful dinner. I don't know what I was thinking. That's why I came over really to apologize.
You're just trying to be helpful.
Really, really nice. And the scene goes on where she then breaks down and making a poor never make a Madeline cry, Tiki. You should never make a Madeline cry because it's so heartbreaking. All the Normans.
I mean, if it's like an Annika or a Rebecca, then that's fine. That's fine. But never a Madeline.
Yeah, just let's say some mean things to Rebecca. No one really cares.
All right.
Really, Rebecca, hit the treadmill a little, would you? Come on. Company's over. Anyway, no, but in all seriousness, again, she has a very Norm-esque quality where when she cries, your heart pours for the poor soul. And then,
I mean, I will give you that. Yeah, you do feel really bad for her.
And again, I think Norman's seeing that in her, and again, it's really doing it for him.
Oh boy.
And again, now Madeline basically she apologized for the double date. How it was basically a pretense that she feels so lonely she just wanted to have dinner with Norman.
But I like how she just comes out and says that to him. You know what I mean?
Very Norma Bates manner. Norman does that all the time, especially in that really weird scene from season 2 about the steaks. You know, she comes to with all the stuff. The George.
Right.
I just lied. I don't know why I did it. I just nothing there. That's very Norma like, and she always just comes clean with people when she gets emotional. Look, Alex, you know what? I don't need it. I don't need this thing in here. This is what I was saying. Don't do it, though. Don't forget about it. She's always so emotionally honest. So anyway, then she starts to cry. Norman comforts her. It's all really nice. Importantly, she exposits that, hey, you know, she and Sam, again, he's gone all the time, which is causing a big rift in their marriage, and he's always grumpy when he comes back, presumably. And the point is, just the cliff notes it for me. Sam made her cry, so he should die.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's my slogan. Sam made her cry, so he should die.
Jesus, don't get on BlueDragonFive's bad side when it comes to women's rights, I guess. Oh my God.
Anyway, so then the scene kind of gets to this point. Has a really anything you want to say before I play the wonderful ending to this scene?
No. I think I'm good. Go ahead. Again, this is just me, like, kind of shipping. I mean, like, us as an audience are probably just like, get out of there, run, leave.
I know, but it's so twisted at the same time. Yes, I know this poor girl's gonna die. I know it.
But there is still that whole, like, we want the two cute kids to get together.
Yes, Tiki, I desperately want these two kids to get together. I really do. More than any relationship in this show, honestly. I really want these two kids.
Really?
Maybe, honestly.
Or than Dylan and Emma?
I'm just saying. I mean, this one's really this one's more like not in the cards than the other one was.
Okay.
I'm saying this one. There's more threat on this one. Like, but they're so close. Come on.
I mean,
it's like a flower.
Like, they've built up this character who we really like, and which is great to do. You know, that's not easy to do in a 5th season, Dragon, in a 5th season of any show, to introduce a new character as like an endgame character and have them just fit like a glove. It's not easy to do. Like Breaking Bad did that with Lydia in season 5, and also characters like Uncle Jack. And I'm going to say season 5. Yeah, I know. Finish my analogy here.
Sorry. Continue.
I would wager to say that season 5, as much as awesome as season 5 was, I don't necessarily think that those new characters outside of maybe Todd were really as compelling as, you know, some of the other, like, especially Lydia. I think Lydia was kind of like the problem character. If we ever talk about Breaking Bad, I have some things to say about Lydia.
But. Yeah, but let's see, what was it? Get out there, but yeah, it was the point you made, is again, because season 5 is a point where we know from the get-go, from episode 1, when she's introduced, that okay, this girl's in great jeopardy, which makes you want her to live even more.
And I'm sorry, the very long-winded analogy I was trying to make there was, essentially, it's just like you want them to get together so much, but at the same time, you don't want them to get together at all.
I know. At the end, that's what the relationship is. Because at the same time, she's the perfect girl for Norm. But at the same time, there are things in the way. I like that he's having an affair with his mother, where he's having it.
Totally is.
I just love that. He's having it. He's having an affair with his mother while she's having an affair with her husband. At least building to that.
Oh God, right.
Or everyone's having an affair. Her husband's having an affair, and Norman's having an affair. Oh God, it's.
I just want a kissy, Norman.
Oh God. Anyway, so then seriously, this is a really well acted scene between two of them. It just fills my heart with love for these two. It's like, oh God, let them get together, please. Carrie, please, Carrie, please.
Oh please,
please.
Carrie.
Miss Piggy, can you write some letters to the network, please? Anyway, it goes a little something like this.
Oh, please, I can do a dragon. All right, go ahead.
It goes a little something like this.
I'm sorry, I don't know what to like this. I think I would say to tell me. Yeah. You're right. Do you think maybe we can be friends? Of course. Like we could hang out sometimes. Even though I'm married. I think we should take a walk in the woods or something. It's starting to feel like fall. Now? Yeah. Okay. Okay. What? I think sometimes you just remind me of someone who I love very much. Yeah. My mother. Isn't that a good thing? It's a very good thing.
Again, I think what just summarizes why these two are so good together is that line, just the whole you remind me of my mother. Is that a good thing? She could have interpreted that in just the wrong way. She could okay, I'm out of here. It's getting weird.
I mean, she does get taken aback by it. You can totally see that on her face.
But her reaction, she takes to it well. That's why she's tailor made for him, Tiki. We spent 5 seasons getting the right girl.
Yeah, but again, the fact that she is very much like Norma kind of doesn't bode well for her longevity,
I know. Cruel fate, cruel writers. Anyway, moving on.
Oh, God. Okie dokie. So let's see. So, here we go, Dragon. Here we go. Shit hits the fan after this. From this point on.
So this is what I'm saying to you. I kind of called this. Of course, I think we called a lot of things wrong, which we found by the end of this episode how we were expecting this season to go. But one thing that I did call was going to be a mixture of. I'm not that proud because again, one of them was kind of obvious. But Caleb, he's hallucinating from the head wound, but at the same time, he is being driven mad through the episodes. Sure. The hallucination is a way of explaining why he's hallucinating. Where Norman,
it's also kind of explaining the escalation of his mental state as well.
Yes. So basically, Caleb, by some miracle, escapes after that happy moment with Norma-ish girl named Madeline, who is also beloved. Caleb escapes, and he finds Norma alive because he checks the freezer, and then we get this image, which of course we love throughout the whole season. We've been building this again since Norma. Every time you walk in the house when Norma's in a scene, it's the angelic Norma lighting.
Of course.
And I love this. I love that through remember, it's like cold and frosted as they walk through, take a step through. It's like the perfect Caleb POV. And basically we see kind of what Norman sees when he walks into that room.
Well, it kind of reminded me of the very end of season 5. You know what I mean? The Norman Rockwell Christmas painting.
Yes, end of season 4. Yeah.
Oh, into season 4. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Believe me, if you saw that, I would have grilled you oh, good. How's season 5 end? How can you do this to me? No, seriously.
All right.
Corpse. It is so horrifying what Caleb's going through this episode. But again, it's the bill has come due, to quote Doctor Strange. The bill has come due.
Oh yeah.
So then we have my favorite scene of the episode, possibly the season so far, but oh my god, it's a really good scene. So we come in I love this. So Caleb is then fueled as he wakes up, realizes, oh my god, I'm still chained to the thing. Let me out of here!
It's just, like I said, man, it's just like everything is just hitting the fan all at once, and no one knows what to do about it.
And this to me is such a well executed, well put together sequence where again it's basically like the darkest sitcom you've ever watched.
Oh God, right?
It's like what if Full House was kind of like a slasher movie essentially.
Well, no, essentially what it is it's what if The Bags in the River was a sitcom? I mean, that's really what it is.
True.
Like, what if The Bags in the River had a laugh track in it?
Oh, Jesse, I'm home.
Oh, God.
Like, listen, don't be mad, but I kind of got us into a little bit of a situation.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Jesse, you've got some explaining to do.
Now, all of that's just going to be under one, by the way. But
yeah, I know.
Anyways, then the sequence goes like pretty much just Norman walking back from it starts so sitcom-y. And then it starts so sitcom-y. And then it just, we edited it very well to what Caleb's doing down there. And then just kind of the information. It's a wonderfully exposited scene too. They have just chicks informing you what's going on, then Norman's reaction that just escalates to like Norman freaking out the situation. Then at the end of it, coming to groups it's like almost like a mini movie in a scene. Almost.
Yeah, totally.
It was a little something like this. I've pumped it up enough. Here we go.
Where's the girl?
Oh, she left, but I brought you back some cookies. What's that noise?
We have a bit of a situation.
Get down here!
Your uncle is in the basement. He's a little freaked out.
Caleb is in the basement. Why?
He came here 2 nights ago. He thinks that Norma's dead, and he thinks that you killed her.
And why would you think that, Chick?
I think that he's here to kill you. He knows about Norma.
You know she's alive?
He spoke to her. Yes.
Why wouldn't my mother tell me this, Chick? This is crazy.
Well,
Mother?
you had another blackout. Norma.
Mother!
I had to wait until...
Mother! Where is she now?
I haven't seen
Mother!
her. I have not seen her, Norma.
What do you mean you haven't seen her, Chick? She has to be here. She has nowhere else to go.
Want me to go down there and do something?
No, it's not your problem, okay? I'll deal with it. Just go upstairs, okay? Go find Mother. Maybe she's asleep in her bed. I just don't want her to left the house or something crazy.
So I don't know what it is about the Calhoun family.
I'm going to count that as Norman, by the way.
Oh, come on. That's not from her.
No, I think anytime we have Norman yelled in an exaggerated manner, it should count.
But you know how many times he said it? We'd have to count all of that if you want to count him. Let me make it even, okay? Just let me compromise with you.
Okay.
Just to, let's say, to symbolically cover all that, let me play this. Because as I was saying, I don't know what it is about the Calhoun family, but they love saying this phrase.
Norman?
Okay, let's count those two and we'll make it even, all right?
Okay, fair enough.
All right. Compromise. It's a wonderful thing, folks. Anyway, so this again, wonderful. This is a great sequence.
I just can't get over the section where Norman's freaking out about where Norma is. He's like, well, she has nowhere else to go, Chick.
I just love Chick in that scene is hilarious. We're just saying, I don't know, Norman. I haven't seen her. He's so calm. At the beginning, it's so like it's like roommates. You know, it's like saying, so what did you do with the girls? Oh, brought some cookies.
That I just absolutely can't get over how much cadence Highmore puts on the word crazy. He's like, I don't want her to just left the house, or something crazy. like the idea of Norma leaving the house is the craziest thing that could possibly be happening in this situation.
and again, it's kind of a 2 for 2 because I've been waiting this whole episode to hear Caleb just kind of shout Norman like crazy because you expect he'd do that if you were locked in the basement.
Sure.
But at the same time, again, I think it's just so. Again, we just cut to it, and basically then we cut to Chick explain that. So your uncle's in the basement. Just then throughout the whole scene we hear Norman.
Right.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so next scene then would be.
Oh, this is great. So Caleb is just collapsed on the floor, and then Norman is just kind of like staring him down through the hallway.
I love this.
Yeah.
This to me was so like horror movie-esque because I was like, me being the audience just watching and saying, "No, Norman, don't go down," because we know he's not Norman at that point. It's like, "Go upstairs, because he's doing, and get the penny ready for this. He's doing exactly the Walter White thing. He's contemplating this thing as he's going down the staircase.
Oh, absolutely. I
So
mean,
I'm
all
saying,
we need
Norman,
is like
no.
a broken sandwich plate. You know what I mean?
Yep. Because I'm yelling to Norman through the TV, "No, other way, go upstairs. But then thankfully, as he goes downstairs, and I love this. Unfortunately, I can't really capture this in audio the way it should be, but I love the music cue that transitions us. Yes, the bell ringing that kind of gets us from that signifies him, and like basically the arms like kind of going down the banister, and that's the symbol of Norma. Like, oh god, it's so yeah, and he goes full Norma, and it's glorious, and it goes a little something like this. Kind of the most heartbreaking section of after Caleb realizes, okay, it's Norman. It's not Norman. It's Norma. He's talking to Norma, and this scene, honestly, maybe, and we keep topping ourselves to this. This might be would you say this is the saddest scene in Bates Motel?
No, I'd have to go back and no, I wouldn't.
We've
not
had a lot of
sad
sad
statement.
I'll get into my reasons why I think at least it's a contender. Maybe not the saddest scene, but at least a contender. So goes with something like this. So basically, as they go through this, Caleb's starting to realize, okay, well, she hasn't told Norman this, as he kind of suspects. So yeah, Norman doesn't know any of this, does he? I'm going to tell him eventually. He's not well. And then
a lot for him to process.
Caleb, now let's analyze Caleb for a moment. Here's how he's processing things. So in Caleb, he offers to I'll help. Let me go, and then I'll help Norman. I suspect that at that moment he's still intending on killing Norman, but as the scene goes on, amazingly in this short amount of time, but it's a powerful amount of time, he then changes his view completely, and then he completely changes his tune after that.
Sure.
That's what I think. I think he still intends on killing Norman the minute he's set free, until basically the lines that are said.
As soon as he volunteers to help raise Norman, we're just like, oh, that'll fucking never work.
Yeah, but basically we get this moment. Is my wish for film this season actually came true with this scene. Honestly, one of my wishes came true in this scene. Nice. So it goes a little something like this, and I'll explain why afterwards. But basically, after the response after Caleb makes his offer, and this to me is heartbreaking, a beautiful scene.
It would never work, Caleb, because you're both in love with me. He's your son, and you're my brother. I don't want to hurt you.
You hurt me. You hurt me in the worst possible way you could. I'm sorry. Let's not talk about it. It can be fixed. Let's just be together.
Okay. I couldn't believe that. That purifies.
I'm sorry, Norman will probably have to kill you. I can't do it.
It doesn't really matter. I love you always.
I know.
Oh boy, that is a great scene. I think first of all, let me summarize the scene just to kind of say what I think all of our view on it is.
So sad.
It is so sad.
It is very sad. Yes, that it is.
Let me tell you why it's sad. I'll get into why it's my wish for film is that it's so so Caleb at this point is the line that really brings it home for me at the beginning. There's a whole you're in love with me, but the whole but he's your son and you're my brother. That line, I think the way Caleb's mind processes all this, of course, right now he's just been delusional. He's been processing the death of his sister. He's been thinking back to the times. He's kind of processing the fact that he'll never see Norma again, and that line kind of says the guilt weighs on him that he deserves this in some way for the bad stuff that he did to his sister, especially that he's gone, especially that she's gone now. He feels all that guilt that he felt. Throughout the series, he's always kind of shuffled that guilt to the side. He felt guilty, but he always denied. He always kind of put it to it was mutual.
It's almost kind of like again, we keep bringing up these mirror images to Norman, right? But I do feel like that is a mirror image of Norman, where Norman has had all these psychological issues just building up. And, in season 1, it was something that maybe could have been contained, but we know it won't be. And then, like, every subsequent season after that, it's just gotten, like, especially once we get to season 4 and the Edward stuff, So, but you know what I'm getting at? How Norman's kind of had a similar journey.
Yes, and I think it's very interesting what you bring up, Tiki. I think it's very interesting that Caleb, in the end, again, this is kind of the logical conclusion of Norman if he did not become his mother. He would end up like Caleb, which would be kind of this broken state. Basically, if let's say instead of becoming Norma, he took the unnatural step forward that they skirted around. Let's say he took it to the level Caleb did.
Yeah, totally.
And there would be no going back from that, and he would end up kind of just as this kind of either he would end up like a monster in other aspects, or he would just be kind of like end up a broken man like Caleb here. Point is, like, he'd be on the same path as Caleb Bradley. Caleb was in denial, Norman kind of blacked out instead of being both forms of denial. They're both, as we in the first episode of this season, we have the whole thing. Caleb's admitting that he was in denial, and in this case, they're both in denial, but in very polar opposite ways.
Totally.
And so again, I think it's so sad that Caleb, again, he's realizing with that line that he deserves this for what he did to his sister, and that again, he made the point. And I think after that point's made, and after it kind of, it's that mixed with as that head wound's kind of messing with him, along with just kind of being driven mad. He's realizing this is the closest thing he's ever going to have to say goodbye to his sister, like be with his sister again, because Norman's really convincing, and again, the head wound's going to work.
Right.
It's that mixed with him being just so desperate to see Norma alive again. Because remember, he missed out on her the whole season, season 4. He didn't really. He missed out on Norma completely. Like that goodbye was in season 3. It's been a long time since he's seen Norma, and this is just it's the last remnant of comfort he'll ever have is with Norma in that scene. And what I like and what's so powerful to me, my wish fulfillment, is that I always wanted to be like Caleb understood where Norma was coming from. I always wanted to go, especially this season, I wanted to go to the point where in Caleb's final moments, he realized that, okay, he thinks he's Norma, and he kind of, would kind of reflect on his actions. Basically, he would get the connection instead of just being like, hey, you were my sister. And I love that in this moment, he understands it. And at the end, he says, I don't really care anymore if he doesn't care anymore if he dies. That means he's not about killing Norma anymore. He's been broken. He got his closure, that the closest thing closure he's ever going to get, and he deserves his fate. So I think that was a beautiful scene, a beautiful ending to Caleb's character from a writing standpoint.
Cool.
It's a really powerful scene for me.
You can clearly speak more about it than I can. So,
you know what I mean? A really good scene, though, right?
Yep. Okay.
And it's the payoff of the together thing. They're together and they're holding hands like that too. Again,
yeah, I hear you.
Anyway, moving on.
Okay, so really quickly, you cut back to Romero. Dragon, I was kind of like on the edge of my seat with Romero, thinking that he was going to make it back to the motel this episode. I was like, oh my God, if that happens, and this is just like the most fast-paced season of any TV show I've ever seen.
We were wrong about the Romero thing, because to be fair, again, the way they edit those promos, it was suggested that, okay, maybe it was a farm, and maybe, because we do kind of end up on a farm, kind of. The fact that, again, we thought it was going to be Caleb gets away, and then he's going to run into Romero, and the two of them are going to team up. That was
on the work farm, right? Yeah. Kind of called that wrong, didn't we?
At the very least, we still could have had that team up if Caleb got away, because we kind of knew that was coming. That Caleb would have a chance of getting away.
Anyways,
yes, takes to Romero. What happens?
Yeah, so he doesn't end up on a work farm, but he ends up on, a regular farm, he ends
up in Iron Man 3, but a lethal version of Iron Man 3. He does. He ends up on a lethal version of Iron Man 3. Just what is it, Ty Simpkins? Ty Simpkins is like, what if he didn't have a potato launcher, essentially? What if he actually had the full, what if he actually had armed with a deadly weapon?
All right, so Romero, he's trying to break into this truck.
And tell me you caught this Breaking Bad reference.
Oh, God. The keys.
Yes, it's Felina.
Oh, sure, definitely. I mean, I don't think that's just a Breaking Bad thing. I think that's just like common knowledge. If you're trying to steal a car, that's the first place you'd look for a key.
I don't know. I think part of me thinks that might be an in joke of like, yeah, we're referencing a little bit.
Maybe.
I'd like to think that.
This is the most Breaking Bad-esque episode of Bates Motel, arguably ever. So
Like, they gotta realize some of these references on some level. Come on.
right.
So anyway, so again, the kid confronts him, and Romero. And what I want to communicate with this is that less the end of this scene, but more so Romero is just. We see how out of his depth Romero is nowadays. He's been so broken by Norma's death. He's really off his game. He just gives like the lamest story he could give to this kid.
That he was like just wandering around and he was cold, so we had to get in the car.
He was a hiker, and like he was a hiker, remotely dressed like a hiker. It's like again, it's like it's not only what follows, but again, it's just showing Romero was like he was so good in that earlier scene, but now he's losing it. He's losing himself when the bit with Jason. And now it's descended even further. He's losing his touch that he was able to fake so well. So Romero's is going, it's a downward spiral. And then we get to rock bottom with Romero, which is usually the case when when this happens to him, which happens season 3. That goes on like this.
Sorry, I took a really bad fall and I'm cold, so I just got there just to warm up. Yeah, Bill, what's your name?
You don't look like a hiker.
I know. Exactly, it's pretty stupid.
I'm gonna get my mom.
No, you don't need to do that. I'll just come.
Oh, boy.
Shit.
So, unfortunately, Romero, while still not magical, he is also not Iron Man. So he is not in the best standing right now because he has been shot yet again.
Yeah, totally.
So while Romero is going to be nursing his now, just to clarify, because you can't really see it on it, folks. Again, Romero was shot in the stomach, so he's not dead yet.
No, he's absolutely. It was totally intentional that he got shot in a fatal place. Yeah, but
still pretty painful. Again, I think the bigger thing communicates. Again, he's off his game, so that means Norman has a fighting chance of Romero.
I'd like to think in a meta way, it's like Carlton Hughes is just like, oh man, we're having Romero get to the motel too fast, Carrie. We've got to do something about this. Previously on Bates Motel.
And again, we have that Hitchcockian intention of, okay, something bad's coming.
Sure.
And you think, oh my God, he's getting closer and closer and closer, but you're still now.
I'm curious how this is going to go, Dragon, because on one hand, it wouldn't make much sense for Romero to show up until probably episode 9. If they really wanted to stretch it and have 3 episodes of like maybe 2 episodes of Norman versus Romero and then an epilogue or something for episode 10. But really, realistically, I'd say Romero probably should be making his way to the motel at episode 9. But then again, what the hell is he going to be doing until then? I mean, is he just going to like go on some sort of like Iron Man 3 adventure with this little girl who shot him in the stomach? I don't think so.
Pretty sure it's boy, TP.
I thought it was a girl.
I hate ambiguous genders.
Anyways,
I mean, with like because he's wearing the hat and stuff. I don't know. I think it was a boy, but then again, I don't know. I never thought it was a girl until you brought it up. Now,
okay, sorry.
Anyway, so it's like that kid from Jingle All the Way. I want that really weird hairstyle.
Oh, God. Right.
Anyway, so Romero shot, not good.
Good for Norman.
Oh, yes, but again, I love that now he has a fighting chance against Romero, which is something we built up from the beginning. No, you can't take down Romero, but now, oh my God, God bleeds.
Right.
The God of White Pine Bay bleeds. So, Chick mentions, so basically Chick's walking through town, and he's playing what I like to call the Hogan logs.
Sure.
And he's playing back his Hogan log on what happened. Basically, I love this too. I love it mentions what happened in the scene we didn't see while Romero was getting shot. It mentions like, okay, so after the blackout, again, Caleb's pretty tuckered out, and says as is Norman. So again, they both kind of are holding hands, and just imagine what Chick Hogan's.
That's so twisted.
It is, and it goes a little something like, oh yeah, I call it Norman with his uncle in the basement holding hands. Well, it plays like this.
Found Norman in the basement, passed out holding hands with his uncle. Thought he was Norman. Carried him upstairs, put him in bed. Move. Feels like things are coming to a significant head.
Again, I love how meta Chick Hogan is because he's just saying things are coming to a significant head.
And it is, yeah, you're right, Chick. You're right.
His Hogan logs are awesome. You just comment on the show, you know? Like, again, well, we've lost Emma's blog, unfortunately, moment of silence.
Yeah, but we do have the Carrie Aaron blog now. We do have that.
Well, yeah, that's a little spoilery for my taste.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Anyway, so again, so Caleb, sorry, wrong one. Chick. Not Caleb, because Caleb is chained to a pipe right now, unconscious. Hold.
Chick sees he sees a typewriter that very much suits his fancy.
Yes. Now take us through this scene.
All right, so he's just some people call old technology unfashionable. No, some people say it's useless. I just think it's unfashionable.
Yeah.
If it worked for Hemingway and Chandler, it's gonna have to work for me.
Yeah.
And the lady behind the counter, she's kind of just inquiring, like, oh, well, first of all, she's like, well, I've got some laptops, I've got some desktops if you want to write. He's like, no, that's, that's where he has the old technology being unfashionable line. And then,
Yes, what he's writing. What are you writing?
True crime.
Oh, what's your novel on? True crime.
Which, can I just be like super nitpicky here for a second?
Oh, come on! Don't give me the thriller thing. Don't give me that.
No, I mean, like, if you're writing a true crime book, it's not a novel; it's a nonfiction. Novel implies fiction, all right?
But it's based in real life, though.
So if you're gonna call it true crime, call it a true crime book. Don't call it a novel. It's not a novel.
To be fair, okay, look, I can't remember if he specifically. Do we know if he specifically said novel or not? I'm trying to think if I know I said it. I'm just trying to think if it was said in the thing.
You know what? That's a good point. I'm not entirely
She asked him.
sure.
He mentioned he was a writer, and she asked, "What are you writing?" So I forget if he mentioned novel or not.
Yeah, that's a good point. We'd have to go back and check the tape on that.
We may have inferred that. I'm not certain. Anyway, so let's see. So following that, so let's just let's refresh ourselves here. So again, Norma, as she mentioned that scene with Caleb, that emotional scene with Caleb. She won't kill him. It's up to Norman. Caleb's fate is in Norman's hand. In other words, Norma's thinking to herself.
So I'm screwed. I'm screwed.
So luckily for Norma, again, her dashing son.
Dragon. Have we ever seen Norman kill anyone, or has he always been blacked out?
Well, technically, Mary accidentally killed Cody Brennan's father.
That was the only thing I could think of, right, was that incident. Yeah.
It was an accidental death, and, he tried to kill Dylan. Obviously, it didn't go well. Well, no, that was blacked out. No, regardless, that doesn't count. That was blacked out. So, he tried killing himself. That was about the closest things we ever had to him get killed. Those are the two closest things we've had, I think. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, so as I was saying, so Norma again, she's screwed in that she can't kill Caleb, but luckily her dashing son is next to the docket. Here goes with something like this. She goes wake up her little Prince Charming here.
I need you to kill him. I can't do it. You gotta go down there. You gotta be strong, not black out, and you have to do it now. I just check out for groceries. I forgot something. I texted him, so I hope he gets it.
Mother, maybe there's another way. Maybe we don't have to live like this. I felt better today. I felt happy. I went for a walk in the woods, and I felt better than I felt in so long, ever since.
You have to do this. I'm sorry, but I have done it for you more than once. So it is not safe for him to be alive. He is dangerous. And he knows too much now, so you have to do it. You're gonna be happy again, Norman. I promise you that. The woods will always be out there, okay? But you gotta do this now for me, okay?
Okay, Mother.
Fast and true, right through the brain, okay? That's my boy.
Oh boy, where to
I
start?
like how she's like giving out the instructions like it's instructions to bake a cake. Right through the brain, okay?
Yes. I gotta tell you, Tiki, and again, this is for me. It's just she's again we fall in love so much now. She's doing it like it's a well worn glove, just that whole like That's my boy. Again, it's so motherly and so sweet, but it's so great. Now, a few things to note in this scene. First and foremost, tell me if I might be crazy with this. It's a kind of a fun thing I like to think, because I always love Vera Farmiga's wardrobe as Norma Bates in the show. But I like to think that in this scene she has a tie and black suit on. I like to think she's dressed like a hitman.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, because we did get Spy Norma in episode 2.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I just love that we had like these various. Again, I want Norma Bates action figures on this.
I was about to say, like, if A&E came out like with a line of like Norma Bates like action figures,
like,
I would
like NECA.
Dragon. I would totally buy that. I would buy all of them. And you know me, I'm not really much of a collectibles guy, but I would jump on that.
Oh yeah. So what's really interesting, so again, I really love the milk line. I love how it comes back. I love milk is responsible for our ending.
Right.
Sending Chick home to get milk is the asking like a last minute request of Chico to also pick up milk. I love that it informs our entire ending.
Exactly.
So I love and I just love how offhanded she means. Again, it's like the exaggerated form of Norma through Norman's mind, which again, basically it's like Norman, we built this up. In the first season, of course, you would imagine his mother coming to him while he's in bed. It's always while he's in bed, coming to him, asking him to do things where, like, take the belt back from Zach Shelby's house. Do it for me, Norman.
Totally.
And it's always like this scene. This is this is the first time Norman would have to kill in his mother's name, of his own accord. Not, you're right about that. So again, it'd be killing for his mother. And it's a big deal. And what I like to think, in terms of what's informing this, in terms of psychological Norman, I like to think that subconsciously, he is him getting closer to Mound, getting enamored with hay, maybe getting outside of this lifestyle, him flirting with that walk in the woods, which again I love how Norman's throwing that in his face of like, the woods will still be out there, Norman. The woods will.
Right.
Just in mentioning that, I think it's like her saying that, hey, basically the minute he thinks of like a life with Madeline or a life outside of all of this stuff, Norma, his darker personality, overcompensates with like, we need to maintain our dark paradise by any means necessary, man. You got to kill this guy.
Sure.
So again, it's like, hey, you, not me, you have to murder someone to make sure you're committed in this relationship like you and I are. You know, basically to prove your commitment to our relationship by killing this man. Essentially, that's what's being to basically prove your commitment to me over your commitment to Madeline. Essentially, what this scene's all about. And it's again, just really great. Again, I love that kind of that motherly vibe against the exaggerated.
Can I just say, though, I mentioned this off air, but I really wish this isn't on the show's end; it's just the promotion's end. I really wish we didn't see the shot of Norma firing that gun, because it's just like, okay, we know what's going to happen. Like, Norman's going to let Caleb out. Caleb's going to make a run for it, and then Mother's going to be forced to try and shoot him. I mean, as soon as we found out that Norman was being sent down there to kill Caleb, I was like, okay, great. Well, thank you, clip from that promo. Now I know how this is going to go down. But anyways.
Yep, and then we have, and get your penny ready for this one, we have the big reference. We got the big old, this is absolutely from that episode. The moment where Norman walks down the staircase with walks to the basement with a big decision to make in terms of killing a man chained in the basement. Sure. Very reminiscent of a show called Breaking Bad.
Like I said, the only thing missing is like a smashed plate.
Absolutely. Again, this scene is this Tiki. I don't care what I'm saying. This has to be a direct pull from that. Come on, your whole climax builds to this moment. Okay, other things are kind of, they're subjective. This is absolutely, come on. This has to be. All right. Anyway, scene goes a little something like this, and as one comment I'll make beforehand is that I like how this is just going to play into the ending. By the way, I really like that. Basically, Norman wants to, he wants to brighten up his dark paradise with Chick and Norman. He wants to have everything. He wants to have this dark paradise, but without murder. That's essentially what he wants, as he's going to mention to Caleb here. He wants room for Madeline and Norma. That's what he wants. But obviously not in the cards because of that whole murder. Again, it goes a little something like this when he basically makes the big decision. Get on, get.
What are you doing? You will ruin us!
Mother, get back here! Mother!
Found Norman in the basement, passed out, holding hands with his uncle. We thought he was Norman.
Milk.
Help me!
Oh boy, that is a really
All we
strong.
need is like an ominous shot of a bunch of oranges tumbling to the ground. I'm gonna count that as a reference.
Yep. Oh boy,
yeah.
let's see.
3 really quick things I have about that. Number 1, I love how when Norman's like, I don't want to live like this anymore. There's a little bit of ambiguity in that. Like maybe his mind is like kind of trying to process what's going on, and Caleb being there is just confusing things. I don't know. I hinted at a little bit of ambiguity. I love how Norma, again, it's just like, it's so well played. Like every time that Norma comes on, when there's other people, it's like, it's so exaggerated and it's so much like, like otherworldly. Like she just kind of happens to be right behind the corner of the porch. You know what I mean?
Yes. I tell you, T, what gets me every time, I love this, and we've had this in the other episodes. We have that Herman-esque cue of like that big, like again, it's like silence as Norman walks out, he just kind of observes Caleb running away, and then like that big bump, and then like the music as Norman's chasing after him. Oh my god, it's so awesome.
Totally. And that's about all I got. I knew I said 3 things. I guess I have 2 things. All right.
Was it milk?
Probably.
Again, I just love that. Again, Norma's shopping habits again saves the day. Again, death by milk. I just love that Caleb was killed by milk and Chick Hogan's kind of Doctor Strange level reckless driving. I was just looking, checking the, and now this is something that kind of, again, more of that meta stuff was real quick. You gotta wonder. So when Norman was in bed, Norma said, "Oh yeah, I text Chick, asked about the milk." So either Chick just turned on his phone, or she just sent the text.
Right.
Just because, again, like Norman has to physically send the text. Of course, it ends with the 2 of them standing over Caleb's body. Again, Caleb's body. No.
So, Dragon,
he's not splattered.
I think we're pretty much to 2 hours at this point already, which isn't good. So let's speed through all.
What about the promo?
Yeah, go through the promo. By all means, play it.
All right, it goes a little something like this.
I don't want to be getting rid of bodies, or have people chained up in my basement, or dump people in lakes.
What the hell crawled into your pants? Why does everyone immediately jump to I died? I promise that I will always protect you.
Good
What?
boy. Big stuff. The middle one just snuck in there, folks. I'm sorry, I don't know what happened there. Snuck in the middle, but it's still valid. I don't know.
Okay, I don't really have much to add to speculation, mostly just because I'm stressing out on the time at this point, so I'm just kind of my mind's elsewhere.
I'm gonna let's mix what we see in the promo with the speculation to make things faster.
Okay.
So, okay, let's see. An important image we saw in the promo that suggests that Madeline may be getting killed is the fact that as she and Madeline and Norman are kissing in presumably Madeline's house. Norma, of course, suddenly shows up. But 2 things I really love this catch is that Madeline is wearing the dress.
Of course.
She's wearing the dress from the first episode, the dress that Norma kept showing up as in the blackout. Mm-hmm. The blue and white flower dress. Let's see. So then, the point is, like, after that moment happens, Norman then I think this is a misleading promo thing. I hope it's not the case, but it could be. Is that after Norman shows up, we saw how this went with Blair Watson.
Of course. Bad news. Yeah.
But we saw Norman reach for a knife, like a knife that was on top of like things being on top of like vegetables being cut. So again, that could be misleading, or again,
Dragon. I'd like to think that after the snafu with the promo this time, where it basically gave away the final moments of the episode, I'd like to think
Yeah.
they weren't that dumb, but I don't know.
I'm saying the evidence suggests that, okay, he grabs the knife in the last images. Again, this seems to be misleading intentionally. But, okay, we're throwing you off the scent because he says, "Mother, you were right," in the same outfit he was wearing at the date. So, I don't know. It's up in the air. I hope they're not going that direction. We're getting the new sheriff next episode, warning Norman that Ramirez escaped. So, again, Sheriff Green's on the case.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I think the ending of next episode will reintroduce Dylan. I think the ending of next episode will. And
Ending of next. Okay.
Now, Max,
of course, it's worth noting that Dylan actually, Max Darriott actually directed next episode. So
yes. Okay, so I think it's pretty safe to say Caleb's going to be dead and Chick's going to be disposing of the body.
I'd say that's a pretty safe bet, Dragon. Yes.
I'm just saying in terms of spec. I'm just saying because we have that burning with something on the lake shot that we got in the trailer, and the next episode is pretty safe. That also Caleb saying he can do anything for Norman, which again, column A, column B, pretty safe guess. I think the sheriff won't be immediately on Norman's case. Like I don't think she's going to immediately find it.
I think she's mostly going to be worried about Norman because she knows that Romero is going to be after him. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I don't think she's going to be like suspecting Norman until later on.
I agree.
Okay, I think episode
down with the Loomis crane situation. You know what I mean?
Yes. I'm thinking episode 7's when that's is going to start picking up. But personally,
sure.
Let's see. So again, I think Norman and Madeline going to get real close, and either he's almost going to kill Madeline in that scene we saw, or again, unfortunately, he may kill her. Given the editing, it suggests that he's going to kill her, but hopefully misleading editing. Hopefully. They learn.
Like I said, just for the sake of pure spoilers, I hope that they don't just like kill her in that moment. Like they, I don't know. That'd be, again, like if that were the case, Dragon, I would arguably just like stay clear of the promos for the rest of the season, honestly.
Yep, and of course, I think Romero's going to get healed up for until the big the climax of the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And lastly, I want to make this clear. I really hope Madeline doesn't get killed. Then Sam seeks revenge. I'm going to hate that.
Yeah.
Right. I don't want to make Sam a sympathetic character because he's not. He's such a prick.
Totally not.
I want him to die so much. I really do. I want him to get killed so badly.
All right, so Dragon, should we go into checkout odds?
Well, want to do the blackout tally? It's faster.
The blackout tally is faster. Okay, so Dragon, why don't you run down all the blackouts that we got to this episode?
Okay, folks. In total, we got 5 blackouts. In total, that is a count of 5. 4 of them. The way it breaks down, of course, every scene is just Norman's in a scene. We kind of track that just to kind of give you a short of that. Basically he had 4 stage 1 blackouts, which is when Norman is just kind of a hallucination, when she's just kind of like in an empty chair, so to speak. Mm-hmm. She has 4 stage 1s, and not counting the beginning, because the beginning is still piggybacking off the previous episode.
Sure.
He goes full Norman with that scene with Caleb in the basement, so that's altogether 5. That's
okay. So for episode 3, it's 5 blackouts. And then total, Dragon, it's 17. 17 blackouts for the first 3 episodes.
Something to note, he's blacking out he's blacking out a whole lot more than the previous seasons.
It's significantly more. Yeah, significantly more.
Yes.
Like, I don't even know if we would have gotten to 15 blackouts in the course of a full season before this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because blackouts used to be a bigger deal.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay, so checkout odds?
Yes, let's run through them.
Let's do it. Yeah. So Norman, he was at 52% last episode. He went down a little bit just because he's got the, he's under the care of Chick Hogan. He's kind of got that guardianship going on for him. Dylan and Emma, we agreed to raise them both up 1 point. So Dylan was at 9. He's now at 10. Emma's was at 4. She's now at 5. Reason being is that now Mother is aware of the granddaughter. So, just Dylan and Emma they're on Norman's radar at the very least.
They're on notice. On notice.
Okay, Romero, he was at 30% last week, I would say, with a gunshot wound. Obviously, the gunshot wound's not going to be the thing that kills him, but like you said, Dragon does kind of incapacitate him. It's like the God of White Pine Bay bleeds, And
the fact that he's losing his touch, guys, that means it's going to be a more even fight than we ever expected between him and Norman.
So I'm going up to 40% with that. Chick was at 40. Dragon, we had a little bit of a disagreement with this, but we eventually settled on 45. I mean, like, it's tricky. It could go either way because there is that whole, like, legacy thing of, like, yeah, Chick's definitely going to have to live to tell the story. Then again, Dragon, I would argue that he does have that tape recorder, so maybe it could be posthumously written.
Exactly.
But,
so you got to remember, he does have all his facts that he needs for a book, except the ending, of course, because that'd be what happens currently in this season. But then he only needs to archive what's happened up to the 4 seasons.
But regardless, I'd say Chick went down just a little bit, just because he is in the good graces of Mother right now.
Yes.
So he went down from 40 to 35. All right. Caleb Calhoun, there's a 2% chance that they're going to go off the rails and just have him still be alive inexplicably. Dragon, just the idea of him still being alive, just it's comical to me. But
well, let me throw this at you. Imagine this. Just imagine. Let me paint you a picture real quick.
I
So
just can't imagine any scenario where this character lives after this.
Well, let me throw this at you. Not for a long time, mind you, but let's just say at the beginning of the next episode, like he kind of stirs awake and like Chick kind of nudges him with his foot, just he's still alive, and then just Norman. Basically, we see through Norman's POV. Norman then just like kind of casually, the gun's like dropped on the ground by Norman as they're talking of what to do, and then he stirs awake, and then Norman just grabs the gun, shoots him casually, says, "What? He was alive."
God. Okay, so regardless, there is that tiny 2% chance he might still be alive.
Again, let me emphasize it for the folks. The body hit the ground, and it's not counting information from outside sources. It's pretty safe to say, Caleb. Again, it's pretty safe to say he's dead, especially with the promo. That body's being burned.
Not even counting the outside sources, Dragon.
Again,
which in my mind makes it 100% certainty if we're counting outside sources in it.
I'm just saying the promo solidifies it, honestly. But I'm just saying 2% just for a sporting chance. Again, we give him sporting chance. He was hit. He wasn't run over.
No. Freaking what's his name? Benedict Cumberbatch is totally not Khan, Dragon. He's totally not Khan.
Hey, Christoph Waltz is going to be in the next James Bond movie. I wonder if he's going to play an important character.
Okay, so Caleb at 98%. I mean, look.
I think that's the highest we've ever. I think it's the highest we've ever had someone to check out.
It could be. Okay, so Sam, Sam's kind of been on a gradual progression. Episode 1, he was at 60. Episode 2, he was at 70. Episode 3, he's at 80 for the simple fact that you do not make Madeline Loomis cry.
Yes, you son of I just want this guy. I want him dead. I want him dead, and I want him dead.
Oh, God.
I want to bisect him with a shovel, darn it.
Unfortunately, Madeline Loomis has to go up from 42 to 65 because, let's face it, she's going to be in a lot of danger. She's going to be lucky to survive her eventual, up close and personal encounter with Norman. You know what I mean?
If only Norman could somehow fake her death to his mother like he faked. Imagine how meta it would get if he faked Madeline's death, faked another Norman's death. See, he actually faked her death. It's funny because we faked death in Bates Motel before Bradley Martin, so it's kind of funny. Oh, by the way, let me bring this up before we end.
Okay.
It occurred to me. Tell me what you think about this.
Yo.
In a way, Madeline is a combination of Bradley Martin and Norman Bates.
Like Madeline is essentially the character that we should have gotten for Marion Crane. Yeah.
Which makes sense. Think about it.
Yeah, that's true.
She's Norma in the acting, but it's young like Bradley Martin, which was what Norm was threatened by, and she's very threatened by Bradley Martin, so it's going to mix in some stuff.
Remind me of my mother. A boy's best friend is his mother.
Again, it's kind of the ultimate combination.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right. And also we finally have a tombstone. It's not as fancy as the one we saw in episode 2, but it's a tombstone nonetheless.
No. Okay, so of course we tragically had to write down Norma Bates right at the end, Dragon, and very soon, Dragon, we will be writing down Caleb Calhoun very soon.
But just to go chronological, as we like to do, the first death of this season was, of course, Jim Blackwell. He will be missed.
No, that's Blackwell.
Yes, Blackwell, like an inkwell, Blackwell.
Okay.
Blackwell.
Okay, yes. Jim Blackwell will be missed almost as much as Tweaker. Almost.
Wait, what color pen did you write that in?
Blue.
Why would you? His name's Blackwell. It doesn't matter. I'm sorry. Let's go. Let's continue on.
And I had available.
I'm kidding. I'm mostly kidding. It just kind of occurred to me, like, oh my god, Blackwell's the only one written in blue. Anyway, so I guess final thoughts then.
Final thoughts. Honestly, Dragon, I'm going to make a bold statement and say this is probably it's a good episode. It certainly is. It's probably my least favorite of the 3 we've gotten so far, but that's not a knock against the episode. It's more so just like, oh my god, this season's been fantastic so far, and one of the 3 has to... I don't even want to call it the wink link. I just think, like, it being a bottle...
It's kind of the diamond. It's the diamond.
Well, I mean, like, it being the bottle episode in particular is kind of like, okay, there's going to be less stuff going on. But it is still very well done outside of that one bit with the horrible child acting, you know.
Get it off the girl's back. Stop kicking that small child, Tiki.
I love you, Caleb. We'll always be together.
I hope that girl shows up at your bed and just smothers you. She's like,
oh, God.
Take that. How's my acting now? Where's Miami?
You know what, Dragon? As much as we've been kidding about this, as much as we've been joking about this,
yes.
I do think it's a factor for me not enjoying it quite as much as I could have.
Oh, come
Just
on.
because in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, this is obviously a very similar setup to this. And it's not like, no matter what they do with this, it's not going to be the bags, the bags in the river. It's just not.
To be fair, he has to be in the basement. He can't be anywhere else. So it's a coincidence, but it's a wonderful coincidence.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, in terms of a bottle episode, I think the bags in the river did it. It was more intense than this one was. Anyway. Especially the moral quandary of it. And maybe that's just why I'm kind of like, well, that was good. I've seen bottle episodes done better. So, still a very good episode, not probably the least shiny of the 3 diamonds that we've gotten out of season 5 so far. But regardless, it's still a great ride. Still a really good episode. Setting the stage for some really good stuff to come, I assume. And that's all I got to say.
Overall, I thought it was a great kind of bottle-esque episode. Is it box or bottle?
It's bottle.
Are you sure it's box? I've heard box before. I could have sworn I heard box before.
Could be both. I could see it going as both.
I'm saying I figured it was box because the set was like they were like boxed in a set,
No, that's true. That's true.
I'm not saying you're always wrong necessarily. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, point is, it's a great kind of closed episode minus our Romero subplot, but again, it's really well cut into the episode in terms of rising tension to the episode.
Mm-hmm.
I love how it's a deep dive into Norman psychology. Again, it's feeding into one of my favorite elements of the show being this romantic tragedy. It's kind of a romantic tragedy vibe. I think Hitchcock will be really proud of this episode, honestly. I think he really did, because it mixes heart with horror.
I mean, it is a very Hitchcockian premise, just in general. It's like, hey, we got a guy in our basement. You need to take care of that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but again, not only
in reminds me of Dragon. It really reminds me of Rope in that way. You know what I mean? Like, hey, we got this dead body that we need to deal with somehow.
Yeah, and in a way, I like that it's more than just the suspenseful quality of Hitchcock. I like that. In addition to that, it's also again kind of have that heart balance with some horrific stuff.
Sure.
I think it's
now all I want to do is I want to see Chick Hogan and Norman hosting a dinner party, and Caleb's body is in a box in the corner of the room.
God. Let's see. Anyway, again, I think we're progressing very fast, but very impressively, very fast. I didn't expect this to way later. Maybe episode 5 we would have gotten this by my next estimation. And again, it's now, especially in this episode. This episode kind of carries us into the ending. Of course, started this, but now this whole episode is us. We're in the show we finally built up to. Anything's possible. Anything can happen. And again, I was so happy. Again, the Caleb stuff I think had a really great conclusion with the Caleb stuff. I think so. Again, it's that scene between him and Norman really does it for me, as well as we had some great unexpected comedy in this episode. Well, semi-expected comedy. I've been seeing that one scene, just that great sitcom scene.
Sure.
So again,
Totally.
this episode's a lot of fun. It's going to be really hard to rank these when we get to the end of the season, but this one, I really like this one. But we'll see how the rest of them stack up. So good episode.
Only one last thing to do, Dragon.
A final word.
And as long as we are together, nothing bad will ever happen to us.